welcome to the Playground Experience. I got the co-host here, April Williams, and we got Kathy D here as well. All right, then. So we don't have a topic for tonight. We free flowing it as we usually do. So Q&A. So if you got questions or whatever, you can always put it in the chat as well, so we can be able to kind of maybe go off of whatever things that you have. I should have went on. I got to go on my channel and tell we're live too, as well, because I think that's what brings people in as well. We were just talking about the energies that's going on. This is again, we continue to get pushed. It looks like we can always start off with if we had a teleprompter. We are getting pushed. The energies are rough. Again, we are being pressed to become like diamonds. And each time we can open up, hey, each time we can open up the same way because this is what's happening. We got this great, what they say, the new moon and the eclipse that's going on. You got the solstice that's coming up on the 21st, right? Because it's 12, 21 is the numbers backwards, 21. Everybody's saying this is going to be really, really extremely powerful. We're probably already feeling in some ways it's going to have a great setup anyway, leading us on to the eclipse. Anyway, the most powerful is light. So in order for us to have light, we are having a light. Hey. In order for us to have light, that means we are getting a lot of enlightenment, a lot of downloads, but also again pushing out the shadows. And in order for you to push those shadows, you know you're going to have a lot of things got to come bubbling up to the surface. So a lot of truth is going to be coming out. Now I'm channeling it now. You're going to have a lot of truth that's going to be coming out. A lot of stuff that's going to be coming out of you. A lot of things you're going to be seeing even physically in your body that you got to be able to deal with as well, because these energies moving. I know April had talked about that, about the movement and kind of moving things around too as well. So we got a lot of things we're pushing that's coming out of us. I know I seen Susan Inspired. She talked about how us in this matrix of things, how the illusions of things are being stopped. We got a lot of help from the other side, from the A team. And I mean the A team, the angelic team, the spiritual team, all that's really helping us say, hey, stop. Let them go ahead and do what they got to do. Don't add no extra stuff. Let them go ahead and deal with the karma, the lessons and things like that without you adding on your extra crap to them because they got enough already. So just hold and told. I've seen them like a force around them say, hold the line and let them deal with the leftover stuff that I have to deal with. And there's no extra stuff. So this stuff that we're dealing with is us putting on and making our own hell on earth. I'm channeling this. It's not the extra stuff that also forces are being. We're still dealing with that hell that we have created, so we can stop with the illusions that we're seeing, so we can create this new earth that is coming in. For a while, she said that was a couple of days, whatever. But they are telling me that we are helping and assisting. I'm seeing 4-1. To me, was kind of angelic. So again, in order for us to truly be able to bring this light as we transform, because we're kind of getting rid of, this is the last month of the year, and then we're getting ready into the next year. But it doesn't start right there because hey, it's automatically 1/1/22 that we go right into. It's an automatic change. But those are the things that kind of bring it to me and this channel just off the cuff. I wasn't even ready for it. I'm like, I just want to talk about my energy, what's going on with me. But that's all right. I let them be channeled in and say what to happen and what we're going to discover coming in. All right, ladies, what's happening as well? Hey, Benita. Hey, Laurie.
Oh,
Hey,
we've got, when you're talking about the astrological events, I actually have those pulled up because I send them to my DM so he can kind of watch for them. December 4th, the new moon and the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse on the East Coast here is supposed to be at like 2:38 in the morning. So, and then December 13th and 14th, the one of the meteor showers, the Geminis, GEMINIDS meteor shower happens. Did I say all right? How did I don't know. And then on the 19th, we have a full moon. Then on the 21st, we have this winter solstice. And then on the 21st and the 22nd, we have Urid's meteor shower. So we've got two meteor showers in there on top, which brings all kinds of change and motion, and it opens different. I've heard it explained that it's like they open up like black holes in the portal. So like timelines are able to like shoot through faster and things like that. And so that's what's really going on. And then we have to remember with this solar eclipse, we're bringing a powerful energetic reset that you talked about and karmic cleansing. So some of these things that we have been holding on to, good, bad, or otherwise, we're getting rid of. And either it is we are willingly letting it go, or it is being ripped from our little clenched paws. But things that have to go, especially if we've seen every sign. We've had literally had angels, tap dancing through your kitchen. You've had every sign known to man, and then you go, if a six-toed cat walks in front of my house on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock, then I'll know it's you. When we're sending out all the asking for these signs, even though we've seen them all, that's when stuff's really going to get pulled. Stuff that we've let go of energetically a lot of times, but we're holding on to for comfort or the fear of the unknown. So a lot of times there isn't a complete energetic release, but it's not going to be severely traumatic. It's just going to kind of be, pried out of our little cold hands because it's time for us to move on. So I also read somewhere was on some of this stuff that the DMs are going to be, there's going to be some shakeups at homes, and things are going to be ending. Actually, what does it say? We can expect both endings of past outdated chapters and a portal for new positive changes. And that means it's bringing in karmic cleansing and energetic reset activities, our highest frequency, or activating our highest frequency, awakening and clarity, transformation energies leading to drastic changes, final closure of past, the beginning of a new life cycle, new door of a new life. There we go. Try that again. New life cycle, new doors opening for major breakthroughs in our love lives, career, and finance. The sky is the limit. So if you're feeling this stuff, and then if you're feeling the ascension stuff, a lot of people I've talked to, if you've had eczema, even if it was as a kid, it's flaring up again. Yeah, you're flaring. If you're hasn't yet, it won't happen to April. We're not even going to speak that. But a lot of people are seeing that, skin things are going on. And think about it. When something's really irritating in us, or, we hear things, it's an itch that has to be scratched, or the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. It's those kind of things. And I think a lot of that is symbolic to what we're letting go of. We're letting go of that itch. We're letting go of, those kind of things. So we're seeing a lot of those changes. And I know for myself, like a lot of different gifts that maybe aren't like huge. Well, I mean, they're all huge. They're all huge, and they're all such a blessing. And I'm so grateful to have them. But being able to, I've always been able to sense my angels, and now really being able to see them, not like see them as a physical being, but see their light orbs. And I was telling Divine Sunshine in April before we went on, walking down the hall of the high school, it's like, almost like a radioactive light show, because I'm seeing, these angels literally riding around on these teenagers. And it's amazing, just the colors that are on them and with them. And they're a scary group. If you any time with any teenager, you're kind of like, I'm starting to think a desert island sounds pretty good, because I don't know about them running the country. But then when you see all the angels on them and you see the beautiful colors of their auras, it's like, yeah, we're going to be in good hands. We really are.
Maybe, it's just me because, like, I'm healing from daddy issues or whatever, but it's not like I trust the old men that have been running the country for this long period. So, like, they could do a whole lot better. I'm going to bring in some interesting energy. So we got lots of people saying, it's going down. We got crazy acne. We got accidents happening all over the time. Apparently, inner ear itching. I have been having ear itching and palm itching. And I was like, yeah, grandma says that's money. That's money right there. But naturally, I was kind of led by spirit, when you're listening. Can you not hear me because your ears are itching?
My ears is itching all of a sudden. I'm like, stop it, damn it, stop.
Well, when you do that, you release a lot of like, okay, let's do a little exercise, everybody. I'm gonna do some exercises. Okay. So we're gonna open up sinuses in the face and we're gonna allow for draining. So what I was saying, I was kicked into starting the detox process in the live juices following the Max Gerson method, right? So I do 2 juices a day. When you're really in heavy Max Gerson, you're doing 12 juices a day and you're recovering, and 5 coffee enemas because you're recovering off of cancer, right? The coffee enema helps stimulate the bile release from the liver, which is the thing that clears the blood. So it helps take some of the stress off the liver once your body starts processing, out processing all of these harsh things in the body. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some stuff that I learned in theater class. Who's ready for a dramatic Leoness Friday? Some major sensitivity to hot and cold. Yeah, I've been having some interesting things coming out of my feet, like hot energy, cold energy. Okay, it's just a little kid in a toy. I was like, a jackhammer. No, spirit devil, you are a liar. No, it's just a little mini alligator, people. Okay. Mimi confirms it's hot and cold. So we're gonna go prune face. We're gonna squeeze everything. We're gonna scrunch our lips and our eyes and all the muscles in our face. And then we're gonna open them real wide, lion face. Ah! And you're gonna start just allowing. Now I want you to rake the energetics through your field. Now you can either incorporate, because I'm pressing here on the temples, over the eyebrows, stop at the arch, pause on the end, and release back towards the temples. We're opening up several little ducts and bones in the brain. We're allowing for these upgrades because these upgrades are seriously happening. Now I'm going into that center part on the eye. We're going to drag over the eye sockets and the cheekbones, stopping at the high point. It's a green monster truck, and you know it, man. Okay, now we're going to go under the nose and back up towards the cheeks and pull all the way to the temple. And you should be able to feel your muscles relaxing here, your jaws and stuff opening up. That felt really good. I want to do that again. And just go ahead and ooh with your mouth. Ooh, ooh, while you're doing it. And you can start to feel even more depths of the stuff opening up. All right. Now we're going it's that light language. It sure is. And we're going to now drag up from the center of the mouth under the jaw towards the ears and temple, the little jowls, your maxilla. Just press in there and give it a little wiggle. Open up those little ducts in between. Now we're going to do prune face and lion face again. Prune face. And actually start to pull back on your scalp. Pull back like the spank me, whatever, comb my hair. Was that comb my hair? That's probably not it. Choke me, spank me, pull my hair. There it is. That's it.
It would be comb my hair if you had naturally curly hair. That's as bad as pull my hair.
Comb my hair. Braid it and then softly tell me that you're not going to be my lover because we're clearly not. I don't know. I've seen a couple heterosexual hairdressers. All right. Prune face. Squeezy, squeezy, and open. And squeeze. And then when you open, like lion face, squeeze all the way even to the back tippy tip of your skull. You can feel all those muscles starting to contract now. And relax. Yeah, that's right,
That's
baby.
gonna be
Lion
our
face.
thumbnail. I hope the YouTube does not see what thumbnail.
So can you feel your head opening up? Can you feel the draining happening, right? Because there's a lot more toxins flowing through everybody. That's why the rage is so hot. Lights be falling down. Oh, thank you, honey. I'll fix that.
Yeah, and like you had us rub right here, and there are ducts literally all through our faces.
Wow.
But like there's here and then right here by the ears. And so you'll feel a little dent right next to your jaw. If you take it right along your jaw and then you rub and then come right down like where your lymph nodes are, what that does is it drains that lymphatic juice down, or liquid or whatever.
Take off your bra.
But
and it's
yeah,
not me hitting on you. It's serious. Most people in this world, this country, are all over in these industrial places wear bras, but it actually cuts off the lymph from being able to drain out of the breast. So people are wondering why there's such high levels of cancers and things like that, because it's not able to fully go down the frontal part of the body towards the liver. So everything that's out processing from the lungs and the heart, and those are the major filtration systems for us interacting with our environment. It's getting stuck and caught in the lymph within the breast, and the breasts have so many lymph nodes because
yes.
that's how babies get their first immune system anyway, is through that. So she opened her eyes so wide as her body says stop. But you're gonna see some things tonight. Tell me about them dreams, girl. You better tell us about them dreams. I bet you they're gonna be deep.
Please come back and comment at the bottom. If you have any kind of interesting dreams that happen.
Like to
well,
me,
Mimi was talking about
my whole body, because I can feel that open expansion. And everyone, because it's so intense right now, and like she was giving us the interpretation of it from the teens' perspective, we give them all this credit for having all these emotions. Well, we have all these suppressed emotions. We have all these suppressed desires, and we're barely letting ourselves feel pleasure sometimes, but we'll go over the pain cycle over and over again because that's what we're used to. So stepping into this new space, we get to create space for more. So it's just going to be really great. It might be disorienting somewhat. And so if you can remember any of the facial massages or just doing deep breathing while doing that, simple as Prune and Lion, it's going to help a lot of these upgrades, especially since migraines are coming through, headaches are coming through. We've got a lot of stuff, and that's because everything's trying to clear our consciousness. So it's not even like we have a choice anymore. It's happening. And if you supply your body with optimum nutrition, or perhaps just gentle inner massage, like doing some yoga or yin or meditation, these things are really going to facilitate this process for you. Because I'm circumventing.
Yeah.
And also that journaling. When we first wake up, especially like you're talking about the crazy dreams, we're going to start having dreams, and sometimes they're not even going to be dreams, they're going to be feelings, because we are going to be going through some timelines and stuff. Write them down, and if you don't have time to write them down in the morning, what I have found is like bullet journal them. And I just put a bullet and then like the emotion, slept well or felt I slept well, woke up this, and I just kind of keep hitting those bullet points. And then if there's something that strikes me, I write a little bit more on it, but just, it's like keeping a running journal that then I can go back and look at. And then if there's something I question or want to know more about, I ask my guides, can you give me more information on this. Why was I feeling like this? And then I do more of that the non-conscious journaling, where I just kind of let my mind go blank and just let the pen and paper take over. And that's something really good to do right now, because like with April said and Divine Sunshine has said, the downloads are coming in and they're coming in crazy. I mean, I'll be fine all day, and a class will walk in and I sound like I'm teaching underwater. I mean, that's the way I sound to myself. The kids are like, no, like, am I clear? Are you guys understanding me? They're like, yeah, we hear you fine. And I'm having trouble hearing myself because, things are coming in. So.
Yeah. And I've had a point that I haven't felt like eating. It's like some days I'm just like, I'm like, what you want to eat? I really don't feel like eating, to be honest with you, but then I make myself, eat. But a couple of times I'm like, I just want soup. That's all I want. I just don't really have for that. I know I've had the headaches too, come out of the blue, really a lot. Having a lot of, now I don't know if anybody else has been feeling that. Have you had moments of like, I don't feel like myself? Like, did I check out? Like, you kind of forget what you're doing. It's like it's not me at all. Like, I was like literally like, okay, something about me feels like I'm in and out of consciousness. I've experienced that here lately too. Forgetting simple things like, hold on a second, what? How you spell that? What's okay? What? So that those kind of moments too. Go on, Abe. I know you're about to talk.
I was just saying I'm totally having that stuff too. I was driving and I was driving other ways that I didn't even know I really knew. Mommy. Oh, we can play after the show, baby. I hear you though. You got go get your monster trick. So it's like I had turned off and I was able to see a series of numbers or a sign that was telling me what I needed to see, but it was all spirit was guiding the whole process, because I seriously was like, that's not cool. Can we not do that again? Like, I specifically, and I'm also finding that because the downloads are happening so fast, I myself, he took my light stand. So he was hijacking the show, people. Because the timing, I don't have, and I have to switch thoughts, and I have my kid a lot. I will record it or I will text it the best I can, depending. But tech is acting real funny right now.
Oh yeah, I know damn well this is my daggone password. What the hell is this? I mean, sometimes I just call down. I say I can't do my attendance on the computer. I'm sorry. It's like, I got you. I said, it's telling me I'm not me. And I said, I know damn well it's me. So what is this? So yeah, real tech issues.
Or like changing real words to other words.
Right.
Or when you're trying to highlight, you can't highlight the thing. I don't know. It's just having such a little
AI been real interesting.
And it's almost like it's trying to irritate you to the point where
you're gonna
I
stop.
don't even know. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not, I have several ways of getting this done. And so once you talk about it, it's like, oh, I guess I better let her do it. It miraculously works. And I'm like, that's what I thought. Those start notes.
He had to start then. He froze you then. Froze you right there and try to mess with you. Yeah, I know.
I want to get along with it. Believe me, I have plans for high tech, but it can't be a power struggle. We got to get along.
Right, and that's funny you said it. I had said that today too. I said, like, listen here, I do understand, because I love Susan Inspire. I keep on talking about her, but what she was saying about that this AI and this artificial intelligence, and how she had to get to a point, and I would even give that as a tidbit, where she was saying you've got to do, like, you shield yourself from negative entities or energies too, but you got to shield yourself from the AI too. Because again, they do a lot of things to kind of play around. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I understand that. I'm telling you, you can't be in this space, let me go on ahead and do what I have to do. But at the same time, I do respect that you have a good purpose too, as well, as far as artificial intelligence that can help me. So I'm like, April, I was like, we got to kind of like today, I said, we got to kind of get along. I got to get in here to do my attendance. But at the same time, I'm talking about other stuff where you just doing the little Tom uckery stuff that you do that irritates me. And you know you irritate that and you can be able to feed off that energy. I'm talking about that stuff. But like me, I gotta respect that. I gotta use you to get into my computer. I gotta respect that. I gotta use you for to do certain things on the computer. But I'm talking about that other stuff. So we gotta find a common ground here. And so I'm in total agreement with what April's saying that when it came to that and this computer issues, and like I do even on the Divine Unisouls thing, I was talking about that. How 1 minute it says I got this, and the next minute I don't, and that's why I said I'm just gonna call you out every time you do it, and then it goes, it acts right. It's like, oh, she's telling on me. And then it goes back and act right. So I'm like, okay, I see how we gotta play this game. I'm gonna take a picture every time you mess with me, and I'm gonna show it to the world. How about this? I'm gonna tell on you. I'm a snitch. And then it starts acting right. That's how you got to do it. Like you got to put your pimp hand down. Say, okay, if we gonna work together, or we gonna be against each other. Something's got to change, but I don't know what it is, but it has to change too. With that, so I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one.
Well, we've also had a lot of timeline jumping, but with that, and as the timeline jumping is happening, so if you haven't experienced it yet and you do, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, please, please, in the kitchen, around sharp objects, when you're driving, be very mindful. And now I have grabbed a hot cast iron pan, not thinking, but it didn't burn. Helen put her hand in, reached in and grabbed a cookie sheet out, bumped her finger on the coil at the top for the broiler. It turned brown as if it was healed already. And I watched it. It went white, it went brown, and it was done. And she said it didn't even hurt. She went, oh, I hit my finger on the broiler. So we've got to really be very mindful, because for whatever reason, as these downloads are coming in somehow, and April, you might be able to explain this better than I can, our threshold for pain is either absent or becoming very strong. Or it might be just that if that's a stronger that you have, it's becoming stronger. But I mean, to grab, and I was drying the cast iron frying pan the way I was always been taught to do it. You know, you scrub it out, no soap, and you rinse it with hot water, and then you put it back on the burner to have all of that water in the iron, evaporate. So that's the point it was at. It was done, and I grabbed the handle of it and set it down. Went, oh, that's warm, but nothing. So, not that I'm going to a sideshow or a circus anytime soon, but be mindful of some of these things being, if you naturally have a high threshold for pain or something. I don't know, April, if you can explain some of that, because I mean, I knew I did it, but then when I saw Helen do it too, it was like, what?
I wish I had the ability to quickly have funny little things to show, because I would be like, and here's my explanation for that. And then it would be that scene from Home Alone with Macaulay Culkin running through the house. So what I am sensing from that experience, and I think all of us are having it, because I've seen my son straight, like he's falling, and there could be a very toy that could hurt him, and it would conveniently be slightly out of the way, and it's happened like back to back to back, or something similar where you think you're gonna get a cut or a bruise, and it thankfully doesn't happen. I think it's those of us that are working fully involved in our ascension. We're getting some grace on the human side of it, um, because they're attempting to alleviate as much of the it's not trauma exactly. It's like release from trauma. So even when we have the subconscious thing built in that would hurt us, we have been able to circumvent it, because we're supposed to, and we're supposed to notice that we have been given the grace, right? And so it puts us in a space of having more trust with the universe, more apt to read the signs, more apt to continue the communication and inspire others to do the same. So it also puts us in a better state of gratitude. So, I think we, as the chosen, are getting levels of grace. And those that are in between, they're falling a little bit more into the chaotic, stressed out side. Those of us that are opening into this ascension with more ease are cultivating it. And we may have um, some resistance because we've never experienced something this wonderful before. But we're realizing that it is our birthright.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're stepping further and more into it. So I think you're going to hear more and more instances about this. You're going to hear more and more about um, just people having the glow or having the flow or being in the space. And even those who are really disconnected from the spiritual side of things, they're going to come out in a, I was amazed, I was in awe, and then you too should try this therapy, or you too should try this, or be open to it. And so there's two twists on this, right? Because depending on who you ask with what's happening for this astrology, um, you know, Aquarius and Piscean energy and all that is extremely magical. Is
I'm
the
laughing
glow,
at me talk about the glow.
the
The
last dragon.
show enough.
Shh. It's
Show
not
enough.
shown enough though. It was Leroy. It was Leroy the whole time. He slide up in Leroy's DMs, I tell you.
Who's the master?
I know. And so that's kind of what's happening too, is the golden, our auras are now starting to fully kick in. We've been practicing and practicing with our auric fields and our protections, and they're actually showing to be physically tangible. So I heard that the spiritual material worlds will start to merge more frequently. And so there's going to be this attempt to gaslight, which has been happening for centuries. And all of that stuff is like clearing out so people can see. You can only lie to yourself for so long that your house is not on fire before the thing burns down, right? And so there's a self-preservation code within this whole diamond construct, like we were talking about earlier. Like, I was told by somebody that I was supposed to release the diamond codes, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like 7 years ago. Okay, bro. It's like, here's
If
a
I've got
track.
diamonds, somebody better tell me where I'm selling them, because
I'm
I
seeing
can't
like
right now.
Fifth Element where they got the aliens. She's got all those diamonds.
It's a good time. I feel like everyone's intuition's coming on strong. We're trusting
Yeah.
ourselves, and then we're actually enabling others to trust themselves. We're now passing on the skill set. Okay. Oh, you want that tent? I think it's gonna be a rainy day. We might not. Anyway, the spirit. Yeah, that shit's real.
Oh wow.
Grace. Yeah, that's an absolute thing. But kicking everything up a notch in terms of self-care.
Yes.
And that's what's going to help you circumvent a lot of this nonsense. Because even as you start to have more patience with yourself, you actually start to build in patience for the external things that are disturbing you from being who you want, or that energy level you want to be at. And I think a lot of us are no longer holding it personal, even though sometimes we may have the attack of I'm not good enough, or like we get over it relatively quickly. I think
True.
it's going faster and
it's
faster.
just kind of in and out now.
The acceleration is extreme. So holding that higher frequency, a lot of the ladies have hold it or locked it in, and that's good. because the stability is coming, but there's still some dark stuff that needs to slough out
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
because
And I
people are. Mhm.
oh no, go ahead. I was just going to
There's-
say that you know we need to face all of this with gratitude and being thankful.
No, not necessarily. Because what I'm thinking about is those dark sex and pedophilia rings, those women that are like being sex trafficked. I don't think we need to
No, I
appreciate
was
that.
talking about being able to like the higher threshold and
Oh,
for
okay.
pain and those kind of things because we need to just be thankful thankful I didn't get burned. Thank you for the protection. Like you were saying, we've always known we were, but here's where they're going to say, this is where the rubber meets the road. But yeah, you're right. No, we're not thankful for those things. No.
Heck no.
But we have to actually have the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it keeps getting brought out into the public eye that says, do not ignore this. You cannot ignore this.
Mm-hmm.
You say you want to enjoy this, well, you can't wholeheartedly enjoy this. Like the fact that we're now talking on these types of devices, we should know that there's a bloody past to it.
To blow the tent.
In a little bit, I'll put it up, okay? I promise I'll put up the tent for you. But the dark stuff that's clearing is according to plan, right? But it has to be all faded because we people don't want to look at uncomfortable things or have to go on the diet or all these things. A lot of people want to be forced into a situation of choice. You just okay, I have you on the phone on the side where I can do the live chat, right? And he's just saying goodbye. So I guess he's ready to play. He's been ready this whole time.
Bye bye.
But yeah, that's still, you've got these like once we're gonna see how corrupt. We already know it's very corrupt. But I mean, looking at the people on the defendants list, it's like it's crazy. And nobody really wants to have that conversation because they've already used those things to pacify themselves with. And nobody wants to say, I've done bad things. But if you can honestly say, I've done bad things, I haven't taken care of my body, sometimes I talk negatively to myself, you can be honest about the real uncomfortable stuff, then the stuff that's not actually attached to you, it's easier to clean up and reconcile.
Mhm.
And so we get the grace, right? But if by avoiding it, saying, I only want to feel the positive things, there's no, my shadow, it doesn't exist. Well, it just keeps growing and becomes much more explosive if you ignore the shadow side of things. So now we are going to go into this whole, I feel like it's just going to be a bunch of tea bags. All of 2022 is just dropping tea everywhere. Just, oh, it's like these things are horrible, but we're cleaning them out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another year of clean out. But those of us who are, if you're here right now, for having this conversation right now, guaranteed you're going to get through almost unscathed. The key is you just got to keep doing what you're doing the work and not being afraid of it. And it gets easier, right? Like agreeing with your intuition and doing what you want now is a lot easier than it was, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago.
Right. True. Yeah. And I remember in their statement, it reminded me of somebody saying, if you are not able to accept the darkness that's going on with you, then that means you really are not having self value or self worth, because you
Mm-hmm.
got to understand the light and the dark as well, where you're talking about the shadow and what things that you don't want. So that really means your worth, which you know that in order to know what your worth means, you understand the whole, the good, the bad, and ugly that goes on with you. And so that would be also part of your worth too, is knowing the darkness. To deny that would mean you're not self-aware of yourself too, as well. And so you pushing off and saying, I'm all unicorns and sprinkles and purple heart shoes and lucky charms is not the way, not the right to go in doing that. So it was another thing that had came to me as well. And of course, I'm having the moments where I step in and I step out of my body. It went out again. That I should have wrote it down. There we go again, these downloads that you had said about that. But I guess that's the main point they want to know about. No, got it. Self-care. Self-care is also acceptance. They said, thank you. They're like, no, we're going to remind you because we want it to be said. Said, don't forget, the guy said that self-care is also acceptance. Acceptance of the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's also self-care too as well. And I pointed out to you, like today, I was having my drivers always, and I get a lot of epiphanies and a lot of understandings of doing it through my driving. And this morning, I'll always go back to the story about my mom, which I always say is the catalyst that I believe is the catalyst of who I am as far as what this overactive mind comes from. And the spirit again about acceptance and understanding the light and the shadow of me was saying, you know what? You need to come to the point to accept that that's how your mind works. Stop going against it and saying that and calling it bad, because there is good things about your war mind of how it spirals out and it comes up with all these kind of ideas and things at the same time. It's the way you use it that makes it bad. When you overdo it, when you're supposed to cut it off and you still going and calculating, okay, well, how about this and how about that? And we didn't already gave you the answer. That is when it becomes wrong. It told me today that said the reason why you came up with it and your mind is trained like that is because of when I said my mom had left me in the room, and they're not cruelty. You know, she's following that Dr. Spock man that said, let the baby cry on his own. And she meant well, but at the same time, as a baby, I'm sitting there trying to calculate, like, okay, now where's she at? What happened with me? Is she coming back? Is she not coming back? What's going on? Okay, I'm crying. I really want to be comforted. So now I've got to figure out, how do I comfort myself? Okay, well, maybe I keep on crying. No, maybe I'll stop crying. Maybe I go to sleep now. No, wake up. What's that sound? You know, and so from that point, my mind develops like that. And that's why I kind of do all this wheeling and figuring out. And it's like, that's where it came from. So my point is that, again, you were trying to find solutions to help yourself, to soothe yourself, to be able to say, I'm safe, I'm okay. And so now the point is that you just got to retrain yourself to say, okay, this is a great skill to have, but there's nothing wrong with you. It's that we just got to train it. So that's what I came up with today. And I was like, oh, and it's like, okay, now there goes the acceptance of what's going on with me, which will help probably also for the connection with me in the DM to saying, because I remember the first time when we had met each other, and he looked over at me, and I was thinking as he was driving from our first date, and he's like, what you thinking? And I was like, nothing. He said, I love the way how your brain works. I knew right then, I said, something about the way you said that tells me that this is going to be, my brain is going to be a problem for this connection. I knew that then. I didn't even know about twin flames, nothing there, but I knew right then and there. So now me getting the control of it, understanding that my brain is not the bad guy. Everything is good, perfect, and all good, no matter how it's showing up. And so now I believe that this is going to be a connection. I say this again, that's self-care. Me learning how to accept myself as to where I am is a process of self-care as well. So I thought I'd share that little tidbit with you all so you all would know about how this acceptance of the good, the bad, and I might be like the eclipse too, moving in from the shadow into the light, you know, and that kind of way of coming back into the light. And that's what I was going through my process of thinking about how overactive. I'm always saying that on this show, but saying, you know, spirits like, stop it. You know, you doing something that's really could be considered a gift instead of saying it's a curse.
Well, and two, working with Sean, because I know, if he sent out, if I'm going to try this again, say I'm making up those words. Sean Barker, when he comes on, he's a phenomenal therapist. And I actually, I see him in the group, and I also then see him for one-on-one. And the one thing that he is just kind of goes along with what you were talking about is, understanding your mind and just kind of, being like, yeah, that's the way it is. And that's why it's like this. And, but he made two things really clear is that, we have to start, staying in not as much, in our power always, but then in our truth. And if you are in any kind of karmic situation, person, place, or thing, especially if it's a person, kind of makes it the worst. And you're kind of tiptoeing around the whole situation with the DM. What do you mean? No, we don't talk. No, we don't talk. We're not standing in our truth because we have been told we're protected. We have been told numerous times that our connection is protected. And so it's one of those kind of things that, you finally just have to say, yeah, I was talking to him. And then, the other thing that Sean brought up as we were talking, one of the issues that I have, and this is something that, like, April's going to look at me and be like, I've told you that. But, body image, even though, I've come a long way with this. When I visualize, and it's always interesting. I can tell when it's something I'm visualizing or it's something the DM is visualizing, because when it's me visualizing it, the thighs are thinner, the hips are thinner, the tummy's flat, the boobs are perky, the whole 9 yards. I'm looking good. But when he visualizes it, I look just like I do right now. And that finally was the wake up call to me to know he thinks I'm beautiful like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about, over the winter, wanting to go and work out and lift weights and get back in shape and lose some weight and these kind of things. And I was like, where are you going to lose weight? In your toes? You're fine. Your build is perfect for your height and everything else. So undoubtedly it's something we both have an issue with. And but we have to be able to stand in our truth, and we have to accept every part of ourselves. And if you are having any kind of trouble with being able to accept yourself and that kind of stuff, both Divine Sunshine and April are amazing. April has some absolutely amazing yoni steams and all of that just really open you. I have to tell you, when I first did it, I'm like, you want me to boil what and put it where and then do and I'm going, oh dear God. And I'm like, okay, so here I sit, everybody's gone, I'm the only one in my house on a 5-gallon bucket in my kitchen, and I'm like, okay, here we go, we're gonna do this steam thing. I don't know why. I guess I was afraid I was gonna knock the bucket over, so I figured on the the terrazzo floor that would be better. And then I just gave into it. I gave into my body, and I let the meditation and the music flow. And I just remember what April told me about how to do this, and I did it. And it was probably one of the most major breakthroughs that I had early on with my ascension. And from that moment on, when I feel really stagnant and I feel really stuck, and a lot of times when it's things out of my control, which we all have trouble with, especially, mothers, and it doesn't matter if you're a mother of a fur baby, like that little beautiful thing up there, or our little fur babies that run around. You want some kind of control. You want to make sure they're safe. You want to make sure that we know what we have in the refrigerator to feed or to eat, or to where's everybody sleeping, and what's everybody doing, everybody bathed, what's that smell. We have all those things we want control over. And to let that go when we know that we're not per se stuck, that maybe we're at a pause because there's something more to learn. Those yoni steams have been the most amazing part of this, because it's just like that little kickstart, just that little oomph over that you needed to accept your body. Once you get over your legs being numb, and I'll throw in a hint there.
Yes.
If you can get one of those sitz baths, like they sell them at Walgreens,
Okay.
just don't pour boiling water in there. That'll melt through. So let it cool. Let your herbs.
I would actually recommend one of those camping toilet seats that fold out, because you don't really want hot water or hot steaming herbs on plastic, because you're gonna then uptake some plastic. I'm still working on getting someone to help me make Yoni steam seats. So you'll be able to order Yoni steam seats from me. The herbal blends, they're all custom right now. I do have a couple of fixed that are coming out.
Her custom ones are amazing. I'm going to
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you, it is. I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. My cysts were horrible. And just on that first steam, not to be too graphic, but we're all family here. I literally could feel the cysts draining. And after it was over, I called April and I was like, I don't know if I peed. I'm not really sure what happened. And I was telling her the experience, and she was like, "Oh no, that was your cyst. You're good. You're good." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay." But yeah, it's things like that, and that's so you're standing in your truth. You're standing in that self-care. It's
You
a
can
wonderful thing if you've never done it.
you can Yoni steam up to when I was regulating hormones, I was doing it every other day. And I was also doing deep alchemical work. And so, since we're closing the session pretty soon, I'm doing pre-sales on my book. So my sales page is about up, but it's about how to biohack your way to your best life, basically, and connection and embodiment. And I myself had PCOS, so I was like, hey, that's my story too. So I was able to help rid my body of PCOS. I know people who have gotten through and out of having endometriosis. I also have friends who have processed fibroids naturally. And it's using a few systems put together. But this book describes everything that I was doing in order to do that. It also helps women who have fertility issues or irregular cycles. So you can steam up to every other day. I wouldn't recommend doing it every single day. You got to give yourself time to heal and acclimate. So it's almost like every 3 days would be more ideal. You just don't want to be on your cycle when you're doing it, because that's a whole nother ceremony that your body is doing. Because in the yoni steaming, you want to uptake, but in the when you're on your cycle, you want to release. You can also do it while you're still bleeding, because I talked to some midwives and stuff, while you're still bleeding postpartum. So postpartum, it helps you heal and quick right away. So from that 6-week period to actually like 3 weeks, depending on what you're doing to take care of, and high nutrition. So one of the things I like to recommend to people who, especially if they're having acne and stuff, within 2 days, I'm blinding myself with this halo here. Within 2 days, I don't know if you can see my skin right now, but there is, it's smooth as a baby's bottom, because I was doing woof woof to my woofers in the audience. The living enzymes, you want to juice and you want to drink it within 20 minutes, because there's still a lot of living enzymes that the fruits and vegetables carry. And after 20 minutes, the living enzymes within the plants die. So yes, it's still good. Yes, it's still nutritious, but you're going to get optimum nutrition if you drink it within 20 minutes of making it. And I kid you not, within 2 days,
Now,
using the
Sean talks about a cold press.
A cold press?
The cold press method. Cold press. And he said that one
press
keeps...
is ideal. Cold press is ideal. Some of these machines can run up to $10,000. Yeah. So if you're working on a budget like some of us, a masticating would be better than a centrifugation kind. Like everybody usually has the jack-o'-lantern, but if you can get your hands on a juicer and get fresh juice, do it. Period. Yes, you can get and upgrade a better machine because once you're in high nutrition, your body then after a little while is forced into higher nutrition and stuff sloughs off. So you're going to see some interesting things come out of other people as well as yourself. And you're going to see yourself have a whole new level of calm, that it's a calm and a forgiveness for self and an understanding. And the better nutrition, the higher the vibration, you're going to clear out all that dark energy and that muck that's kind of holding on to you. Now, I'm not saying don't have your cooked foods and don't do that, but ideally, the highest vibrational food you can is raw vegan food. Now, you want to go local as possible as well, because the less it's traveled, the fresher and more alive it is, right? If you can get stuff from a farmer's market and know the person who's connected to the land, it's going to change how you do it. If you can pray with your food, or energetically connect with your food, it's going to do miracles. Now, the yoni steaming is a wonderful practice, and it reconnects you even if you have had a hysterectomy or other organs removed, because there's a war against women right now, and whether we're aware of it or not, they just say your body is failing you, science has everything, just remove your organs and you're good. And some of that is this life, some of that is clearing up old generational stuff, which I'm also talking about in my ebook, which will be up for sale soon. Calm down, son. I am clearly talking a lot to not you. You're just gonna have to wait just a moment. Wait just a minute. Thank you so much for your patience. But when you do the yoni steaming, you're actually, because you still have the energetic imprint. Like I myself had one ovary removed because, just read about it. It's very upsetting. Anyway, I can still feel that ovary. I can still feel that like spirit ovulation. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I hope they don't get me spirit pregnant, because that's all I need is some ghost babies. Can you imagine the breastfeeding? The nonstop. But you can reconnect with the womb. You can go through the process of, because we also lack rites of passage ceremonies in our society. So we never really talk about what it is to really be the maiden, what it is to be the mother, and what it is to be the wise woman, and how that affects, and then also how we can grieve the loss of our organs when they have been taken from us under extreme pressure, because they make you think that you've got to do exactly what they say, because what? They've just created themselves. Science is not that old, to be honest. Medical science is not that old, and they barely just started listening to women. They called all of their issues what? Hysteria, and then prescribed them meth or cocaine. It's legit. Of course, you can be crazy when you're on one of those things. What are you? If you're gonna be my stagehand, you're gonna have to be a little less handsy.
But the job description says.
But one thing that I really love about beauty? Good night, sweetheart. What I really love about like connecting into the space of the yoni steam is you actually can do that deep release, because your womb is able to talk. You can connect with your body on such a deep level and release, and that's where all the generations are housed, and the energy of all the generations is the womb, right? And I go to a lot of sweat lodges and stuff, and the sweat lodge, that building, is supposed to be like the womb of the universe. And so if all of this is mirrored after you, the female in the feminine body, then we hold so much power to both create and destroy, and to rebuild and rebirth. And so it's a really great place and time to do that for ourselves.
And like you just said, if it was missed in, if you've had a full hysterectomy or anything like that, you can still use the yoni steam. You can still get the major benefits from it, because like April said, she could feel that one ovary that's been taken. It's still there. It's still part of your body. It's like you hear about people that have amputees. They still feel their legs. If they've lost like from the knee, they still feel their foot. They still feel, in Tammy, in our case, they could probably even still feel their toe in Dollar General. But anyway, so your body still recognizes it.
I have heard of a guy who was in a farm, and he had just lost his arm, and his granddaughter fell, and he grabbed her with the no arm. What? Like, he grabbed her with the spirit arm and saved her life from falling in the giant shed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What you say?
Grab them with your spirit uterus. Grab them with your spirit ovary. We're gonna slap these healing around. Yeah, we do.
Well,
Sweetie.
and if you talk to a female OBGYN or a midwife, even if your tubes have been taken, tied, burned, knotted, packed with cement, whatever done to them, they can still grow back. So there's always a chance your body can regenerate these things. I mean, we only have touched the tip of the iceberg on what our bodies can do, and what our brains can do, and it's so
Solid,
much of
man.
and so we have to trust our bodies in this stuff, and that goes for when you're feeling bad, if you're kind of feeling like you need to lay low or take it easy, and that might be something right now during this eclipse
Yes.
that you're feeling, then don't guilt yourself into it, because that's also not self-love and self-care. When you lay there, if you're tired and you're watching a Christmas Hallmark movie, come on, we've all seen them 100 times, but you're just hoping that she wised up from last year and she's not going to cause all that chaos. Like, oh, we know what's going to happen here. Girl, don't say that. Don't act like that. Now that was your ego. But, sit there and enjoy your movie, and don't guilt yourself. Trust me, the laundry will be waiting. The dishes will be waiting. The vacuum is not going to get up and leave. Nobody's going to, fall over. Your children will all be fine. We have to take care of ourselves. It's that whole oxygen mask thing on an airplane. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't put that mask on first, so you are able to function highly and help other people, you're not either going to be able to help the people you need to help, or you're going to help everybody and in turn lose yourself.
Mhm.
And from somebody that has been there, I used to put the oxygen mask on last. And for probably about 16, 18 years, I stepped back from the oxygen mask, and I did lose track of who I was, because I did for everybody else. Now I know I put the oxygen mask on first, and I don't care who calls me selfish, because by taking care of myself and making sure I'm well and I'm healthy and I'm whole and I'm getting as healed as I possibly can, nobody will ever be fully healed. So please don't go for that goal. I want to be completely healed. No. But because we're a work in progress, you turn on the news, something triggers you that you hadn't thought of. I mean, we're a work in progress, but we handle things so much better. But if I'm not whole and I'm not to a portion of healed enough to be able to help my girls heal, to be able to help, my family, to be able to help my beautiful sister, who has done amazing things just in these last 2 years, then they're not going to be whole and healed and healthy. And so we do have some old paradigms that are saying, oh, well, by putting yourself first, you're being selfish. And the best definition I ever heard was, if you're not taking anything away from anyone, if you are not, you're not taking food from somebody, you're not going to say, I'm going to sit here on the couch and watch my Hallmark movie, even though I know I need to work and we're not going to have lights tomorrow. That's being, so maybe it's, I'm not going to work as hard, I'm not going to work as long, but you still have to, complete what you need to. But if you're not physically taking a need from another person to satisfy yourself, then you are not being selfish. If you are, then there's the definition of selfish. And we have a hard time understanding that. To be able to say, I just need to sit down. My eyes are heavy. I need to go lay down. I'm going to bed. That's not being selfish. That's taking care of you. Your body's shutting down. It's saying, hey, stupid, go to bed, or we're going to call it night here.
Mhm.
And, so we have to follow those things. And so as long as you are not taking away, and we know what people need, they need food, they need love, they need a shelter, just our basic needs. If you're not taking that away from another person, you're not being selfish. But when you say things like, well, I don't care, As a mom, it is definitely hard to not put the little people we've made in front of us. And even the fur babies, because I have one of those monsters too, and I know that I get up in the morning and I like to get up and I like to do my Reiki, do my yoga, and have a cup of coffee and just kind of do a little journaling and then get my day started. But you know what I do every day? I get up, I take the dog out, then I bring the dog back in, and then I do my thing. Because if not, I'm then going to be cleaning the rug after I do everything I wanted to do. So there are times like that you do have to alter your schedule. But just remember that as long as everybody is fed, everybody's safe, everybody's healthy, they have a roof over their head, they have water, they have these kind of things, you're not being selfish. And there's somebody that is really beating themselves up over this. I can feel it. I can hear them. I keep hearing somebody say, but that's not what he says. And
yes, I was hearing the same thing. There's a whole thing of it. The only person who's going to argue with you about you taking care of you is someone who's trying to manipulate you and take your energy. Yes, let's talk about narcissism for just a minute.
All right, hit us with those pearls of wisdom again. Yeah. Yeah, the only person that is ever, it's that saying, and they use it a lot at the high school where I teach. Those that mind don't matter, and the ones that don't, wait, how does it go? Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So when you're taking care of yourself, those that don't mind and those that are all for it and say, oh, you need that, hey, I can step in here, I can take the dog out, or I can do a load of laundry, or I can fold those clothes. You go meditate, you go do yoga, you go take a walk, take a nap, go have lunch with your friends. Those that matter don't mind you becoming whole. They want you to. They want you to be healthy. They want you to be the best.
Talk a little bit about escaping abuse real quick, because there's a thing where people are afraid to be alone, but they don't want to step into the space when it's just by themselves so they can re-strengthen, because they don't remember what it feels like. They just hear or feel the detachment, the loneliness, the abandonment. Can you explore that for just a minute?
Yeah. All right. So if you are in any kind of abusive situation, and just remember, abuse comes in at least 7 forms. And so it can be financial. If they're withholding finances from you, if you have to beg for money for groceries, for gas, for anything like that, any necessity, that's financial abuse. Emotional abuse is, of course, the gaslighting, the talking down, the putting ideas in your head, making you think you're crazy. Some of that's narcissistic, some of that's control, some of that can be like a out and out sociopath. So you have to really be mindful of that. The emotional, of course, we all know physical, and the psychological. They're all we just can go into these. They're horrible, and they all have their own thing. The problem is right now, the only thing that our judicial system sees is the physical, because it leaves a mark. They can't pry you open and show the marks on your soul, because I've always said, and I've said this to my karmic, who is the abuser, I would much rather have a bruise on my arm that will heal than to hear your words repeated in my head. So for those of you that are afraid to leave and use that excuse, well, it doesn't hit me. It's and I did it. I used that. That was my excuse. Well, he loves us, and he doesn't hit the girls. He doesn't hit me. What words? What are they going to do? How are they going to hurt us? It hurts so much more and so much longer. You have to become your best friend, especially if there are children involved. Please do not buy into the out and out BS that they need both their parents together. If you are being abused, ultimately, so are your children. And for them, you have to get them out of that. You don't want, and 9 times out of 10, those of us that wind up in some form of abusive situation, when the lights go off and the bells ring that this is where we are, we literally sit there and look around almost shell-shocked, like, how did I get here? I know of women that would blow your minds, that are heads of companies, very highly successful doctors, scientists, and wake up one day and they realize that they're in these abusive situations. These are, powerful women, business moguls, run a boardroom with an iron fist, but are scared to go home. And so it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your walk of life is. And I understand it is the hardest thing is to pack your bag and walk out the door. And everybody's got a reason. I mean, I had a mile long worth of excuses, and I even had to come to terms with my final one with my lawyer this week. And but it comes to a point where what is more important? Your mental safety, your emotional safety, because after this is over and done with, please don't think you're going to walk out the door and you're going to close the door and you're free from them and you're fine and everything's going to be sunshine and roses, because you are going to go through a part of, especially if it's dealing with a narcissist, they're going to try to come back. They're going to try to guilt you, scare you. I know who you got over there visiting you with all that red light. Yikes.
I know. I was like, son, that's so ominous. Can we just change that?
But you've got to find somebody to help you heal. Now, I am, like I said, I talked to Sean. I go to counseling with him. He's amazing. So worth it. And that's if you can. Like, there are some people. Now we're at the club. But there are some people that I have trouble trusting males now, and I never had that really too much. But like realtors, if they're pushy and they're aggressive anyway, gonna make that sale. We got to do this. We got to do that. Or a garage, let me go get my oil changed, and somebody tell me, little lady, I'm done. If anybody, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you this great thing. I don't have any I do have some mechanic skills. Like I can change my own oil and stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, you want to make a fortune, go from, instead of Pep Boys, do something like Pop Gals, all women mechanics. You will have a gold mine, because I'm going to tell you, any woman that has ever been abused or mistreated or has lack of trust in men, they will go there and have the work done on their cars, things like that, and there's going to be a trust built there. So there you go. I threw you out that one. That's a golden hint. I don't know, it just came to me, but yeah.
No. I think
I also saw one where there was a woman, African American woman, who actually put in like a nail salon next to it, so you could actually get self. Oops, I just poked him and all the things. This thing picked up my baby like a bowling ball in the face. But yeah, you can just incorporating self-care wherever possible, incorporating those few breaths of knowing your value. Yes, we can. Yes,
and reach out and talk to somebody. You cannot handle this. You cannot heal this on your own. Please hear me out when I say this. I mean, I have a minor in psychology. I mean, I'm with these lovely ladies at least once a week. And if you guys knew how much we talk during the week, but still you need that, and that non-objective voice.
Yeah.
To say, hey, look, all right, are you feeling this way because of past hurts? Or are you feeling this way because your intuition's going, this guy is a shyster? And even you're going to start feeling, there are women that are like that, and you have to trust that intuition, but you've got to have that confidant that can be very objective and say, a therapist that it specializes in this kind of abuse and can say, this is how you have to handle things. I know my biggest thing, absolute biggest thing that's going to be through all of this, and it'll be with the DM. And I know this is one of the things we have to heal together because he's been through things like this as well. And that's being able to have a difference of opinion and not make it personal. I'd really like I think we need a hot tub off the pool. And he's like, no, I want a water slide instead of a hot tub. And instead of it being, a fight, well, of course you'd want that, look at you, instead of taking that fight there, saying, well, I understand why, being able to rationalize and talk about it. Now, we do fairly well at that. But you also have to remember that there is a very wide distance between us. So it's on the phone. So there are times we're making faces and, we now know each other's making faces, but we don't make it personal. And that's that's going to be my thing. Unfortunately, I saw it with my parents and I lived it. So, but the first step is reach out to somebody. And the sad thing is, if you're in a position that can help in any of the battered women's shelters or any of these hotlines or any, thing like this, especially around Christmas, please donate to these. I don't get any kickbacks from it. But when you call, and I was just calling for general information. I wasn't, needing somebody at that moment to help me or to save my life. I was put on hold for 20 minutes, at least. At the 20 minutes, I hung up because I was afraid there was somebody waiting behind me that needed it more than just the general information that I probably could have looked up online.
Okay.
So, and if you're in the place of where you can volunteer at these places, just a smile, just I understand. It's going to be okay, and mean it, really and truly. Mean it to the best of your abilities. That's what I need, because really right now they're looking for hope, and it is so hard right now because so many people are trying to hold it together for their families for Christmas. Oh, we don't want them to have a bad Christmas. We don't want the kids to remember that Christmas. You know what I've learned from my own children?
Down on the holidays, it's just awful. It's just awful. The stress is too high. And I'm gonna be me going through my mom and that level of abuse. I mean, her and I have healed our relationship now, to be honest, and everything. But I ended up in a relationship just like the abusive relationship with my mother, and I didn't even notice it until it was, oh snap, I'm deep in this, and I'm well educated, and I've done tons of shadow work, and I thought I could have this, whatever. Well, I guess my shit was still sneaky, still funky enough to say, oh, I need to clear out my self-worth issues. I need to clear out what my boundaries are and learn those things. It's exciting, but also painful. So if you can change the whole where you're beating yourself up about having put yourself in the situation and just say, oh, I'm so excited that I get to learn this lesson really, truly, deeply this time, and still come back with an open heart. Now, I don't have to come back with an open heart tomorrow if I just got beat yesterday. But I can take that time to wound and we'll heal those wounds and study them and then gradually step back out into expanding my boundaries and my safety zone again, And the Oni steam is a really great biohack. Providing nutrition for your body is a really great biohack. Mindfulness. Kathy
because stress
saying
is
gratitude.
horrible on it.
Yeah, we're prepping you for the season. This is the clearing out of everything, right? So this is what's about to happen last night. So just say where you draw your line in the sand, and then it's okay if you keep moving that line. You don't have to. There's no fixed anything. The only constant is change. He's been so patient,
and those of you that are in these and maybe not watching right now while it's live, but are going to watch it later on. If you are in a situation where somebody is gaslighting, there are 3 things you can do. And the third one is for your own, your own safety. You have to choose that. One is say what you mean, set your boundaries, and then cease conversation, cease contact if you can. The other one, which would be considered, it's called gray rock. You're just like a gray rock. There's no emotion. It's like nobody's home. Um, the other one is shutty shutty. And what that means is it's like just shutting your phone, like the old flip phones. You said what you had to say and that's it, but we're done. No response. The third one, and I tell you, take this. This is your own choice. This is not anything scientifically proven. It has worked for the DM&I. And that's just when they get absolutely, completely, and totally ridiculous with what they're trying to accuse you of, and you know better. You know that's not your story. You know that's not who you are. You just laugh. You release that stress and that tension that would become a screaming match, or you would lunge at him and want to beat the snot out of him with a cast iron frying pan. You just laugh. And usually, especially in a narcissistic situation, that's the kind of attention they don't like because they think they're being made fun of, and they will retreat. Now, if there is physical abuse along with the emotional and the mental, do not do the laughter. If it's going to trigger them to hurt you, please keep yourself safe. You know what you can do. And the best way, gray rock and shutty shutty. But sometimes it just gets so ridiculous that you're like, I say now our arguments are like the Mad Libs. You know those as a kid, where you'd pick a noun, you pick a verb, an adjective, and an adverb. And, but the argument always ends the same way. So, he's done with me. I'm a horrible individual. I'm a terrible mother. And he can't believe he deals with me. And it always never doesn't matter what we're fighting about, or he's fighting about. I'm just there. So, but find somebody you can talk to, heal yourself, and do it for your kids. Because my youngest, who's in 5th grade, this all started when she was in kindergarten. The divorce thing started. And she said, I just wish you would have gone through with it when I was in kindergarten, and we would have been over this. It wouldn't have been as bad. And I said, I thought I was doing the best for you. So when your kids come back and tell you that, then you know that it's time to, if you haven't made a plan by then, what are you? My dog's eating a pencil. It's time to make an exit strategy, not only for you, but for them. And make sure that they get counseling because they need it. If not, they're going to repeat that cycle. This is where you can break that generational cycle. This is where they can break it.
Honestly, I'm going to say this for real. A lot of people don't know that they're in an abusive relationship until they're really deep in the abusive relationship.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I honestly think that it's a bumper car situation, because once you've learned something within the first 7 years of your life, it is there subconsciously, and you can do your best. You can do your best, but reprogramming at that stage is a little harder. So it takes time, and it's going to take like one more generation. And it's okay to not be like, I didn't finish everything for my entire family line. Like, it's okay. But you started chipping away at the boulder. I also talk about genetics and like biohacking epigenetics, and how you can do that for yourself and your family line through U.N.I.T.Y steaming. So check out my book, pre-sales. I just got to get the ad out this weekend. So.
And
I've already gotten to see the cover, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. And so that's a good way to segue to wrap it up. I'll take it. So it's good time to wrap it up. So we already know what April Williams and let me hit the banner. I don't have the baby now.
Don't hit it. Don't worry. My website is out right now for no particular reason.
It's out for
other than everything's
okay.
Other than everything is paid for, and that it's trying. We said the tech issues are going to be hilarious, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, y'all don't want me to do that right now? Just sell the book and make it easy. I'm going to make myself less available, unfortunately.
How about that? That's how I deal with that. All right, so Kathy, D, what's going on with you? She said, don't hit it because I got it there. So what's happening with you?
I am on Fiverr and loving teaching my high schoolers, and now that's my website. If you can't get a hold of me there, you can go to my Gmail, which is just the same thing but no ing on the end of coach, so it's pineapplefishlifecoach
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Okay.
And I'm going to throw this out. If you are not sure, if you are in an abusive situation, if you are not sure what to do, if you just need to be pointed in the right direction, please, please, I beg of you, reach out.
You know
Okay.
what? You know what I would like? You know what?
What?
Abusers. If you don't know if you are abusive, because some people don't even know that they're abusive. And they just learn the worst toxic behavior and they think that shit is normal and it's not okay. And so there's a whole thing about denial too. So if you think
Mhm.
you might be abusive as well, you email her. Don't email me.
Yeah, I mean, really, no, email. I mean, I would much rather give of my time and help you to become whole, whichever side you're on, because there's a big stigma with that, because people do later on look at you and go, because you think about it, if you're in that situation, what would you tell any of your friends in that same situation? You tell them, girl, get out. I'd tell him he could shove it. I wouldn't be putting up with that. Nobody, no man's going to talk to me like that. Call me this name, that name. And, then the next minute's telling me how much he loves me. Oh, please, I'd be gone. But you know what? When you're sitting there in that situation, and especially if your family's far away, or you're kind of in an estranged situation, you're not close to any of your family, you have to understand that you don't have to cover it, because we send out the Christmas cards and everybody knows, we all know them, we can all see it. And especially as you get more in tune with your abilities, you can look at people's Christmas cards and go, that was a fake. They ain't happy.
Mm-hmm.
You see what they did last week on Facebook? I didn't know she had a second account. When that happened, but you don't have to put up the front. You can say, I'm hurt and I need help. And that's probably the hardest thing I ever had to say, was I'm hurt and I need help and I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was very blessed that my best friend, my person, my DM, all in the same, was there to kind of buffer it for me so I could wrap my head around it, where I was safe, and reassured me that I did not deserve to be talked to like that. I did not deserve to be treated like that. And that I was an amazing person. And so you've got to find your person that can tell you that. And sometimes it can just be, and your counselor can tell you that. It doesn't have to be your DM. If you're on the outs with your DM, don't go to them and be like, oh, I got to talk to you. Sometimes they're not able to handle that because they want to protect you. And sometimes they will step back because they think they are protecting you. So, but reach out to me if you've just got some questions, if you've got friends, if you've got family members, anything like that. I mean, I'm trained in abuse and all of the depression systems, all of that. So while we're talking about it, we're right here between the holidays with all of the astrological things going on. And then, throw in a nice, good old holiday of greed a lot of times, because we've lost the meaning of it. A lot of people get depressed and they're sad because they're away from family and stuff. Reach out to me. I have some wonderful ideas on, maybe just to give you some ideas on how to help, how to get out of the seasonal blues, and understand that, even if you don't reach out, this too will pass, and it'll be January 1st and we'll all be making nonsense resolutions. But so
You do need
just know
to
that
take some kind of action though, and if that action is just being
you do.
aware, it's something.
Yes.
There is a lot of unconsciousness that we are now bringing to light and learning how to do these things. Nobody talks about real parenting in school. Nobody talks about arrested development or, you know, the corruption within society because it was built within a certain system, right? We were all kind of separated from family and we all have different ideas of what it means. And sometimes that's trauma bonding. And now we're clearing that out. So just being able to have a conversation like I was abused, I was raped, I was or sexually assaulted. I, you know, maybe you can make mistakes. You can be fallible and not perfect or seemingly sullied, right? Because there's a lot of pressure put on women to be in a perfect place. So take so I've got to go. I do. But I love you. I asked you a really loaded question. It was like, we're going to close out. And then I asked her, can you just talk about narcissistic abuse real fast? Like that was just kind of throwing her under the bus. So I apologize for that. But thank you all for participating. We love you. I got to go. My little one's officially over it.
I got you. I understand. I got you. Okie dokie. And then also with me, for the divine, for me, I am holding my class on 12/12 on the 7 deadly sins for twin flames. It's going to be a free class at 6 p.m. Central on Divine Unisouls, 11 channel. Make sure you're over there. A lot of good content helping us to understand what are we doing in those areas based upon the 7 deadly sins that is helping, that's hindering us, not helping us, but hindering us to be able to sin, and we're missing the mark because of these things. Good stuff, good, interesting twist of how Spirit uses the 7 deadly sins to help us understand how we're doing these wrong things in our twin flame. So it's actually a 2-hour, 7-class course in which will be on Zoom. So the first hour will be content, and the second hour will be Q&A. And so it's really it's $77 up to 12/12, and then after that it'll be $124. And then once it hit like the 4th class, then I'm gonna up the price from that point. And then afterwards it'll be $222 because you'll get the recordings. You can go there on your own, and then it'll also be I have all of my presentations. You'll get that at the end, so you really have really rich resources in order to use at the end of it. But it'll be $222 because afterwards, then you can use the resources then on your own. So that is really my niche. My dharma is education, an educator, and a warrior. So I'm using both of them to help you to be able to warrior through and go on to the next level. So really you need to be there. So make sure. I'm very excited about it, doing this course, and so you can be able to find out what things you need to change in order to send to go to the next level, to have union with yourself and also with your partner, and then to be able to see those areas that you need to change and fix. All right, then, as always, make sure that you click like, share, and subscribe to this channel as well. All right, then, Kathy D, get us out of here. April Williams already did her thing.
All right, guys. Well, empty your own shoes and socks. Pick up your own buckets. Take care of yourself. Wishing you your best life ever. See you real soon.
All right, then, and as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste and Nama go. All right, then. Well, until next time, we'll see you on the playground. See ya.